What is up, people? I am sorry. I have been MIA again. I have just been really busy with work and just life stuff. So, here we are. We're in a new car. We're in a different car again. We are in my 2004 Chevrolet SSR Roadster. I swear this is the car that wasn't supposed to be. It really is a bizarre beast. I decided to come to a kind of a unique place here in Southern California that's a little bit forgotten about. But we're actually at the Boeing facility in Anaheim, California. So many people don't even remember, but Boeing actually was the number 2 employer of people in Anaheim up until 2006. They had one of the largest facilities and campuses here in Anaheim. It used to be over 20 acres that they had just massive facilities on. A lot of guidance and things were developed here on this campus here in Anaheim. So what kind of took us to the moon was developed right here, and we're sitting in the executive parking lot of what used to be the Boeing building here in Anaheim. So really cool building as it is. Looks very reminiscent of like maybe the Pan Am building back in New York. I'll put a little picture up here of that building. Really cool building back in New York that seems to be used in a lot of movies now because after Pan Am went out, that building kind of just became iconic in everything. So when GM came up with this car, I remember seeing this thing and I thought it was the coolest car I had ever seen in my life, and it was awesome. So just the shape, the design, everything I've kind of dealt with on this car just is unique to this car. The car itself shares a lot of features cross-platform from General Motors. One thing to number one notice, the mirrors on this car. On the concept car, they were kind of mounted up here, kind of goofily. In the actual execution of the car, obviously things get cut and people don't really get their way on some things. So what happened was C5 mirrors actually made their way onto the SSR. Also shares the license plate mount as with the C5 Corvette. The taillights are actually cobalt. It shares the same radio as my Avalanche. I think this steering wheel was unique to the SSR. It might have found its way into a Trailblazer SS as well. You might be able to correct me. I don't have a Trailblazer SS. I'm looking for one. I'd like to have one someday. But I do not know. I can't confirm nor deny that. And then I think they found like a pallet of these. Can you see those? Yeah, these are those little plastic chrome things that were in like Chevelles and Camaros and Corvettes from like 1966 to like 1996. I think they just found like a sea container of those and just were like, yeah, throw them on the SSR, man. Because I really think this thing was a free-for-all of parts. And then as for the chassis, it's actually built on a Trailblazer chassis. So if you actually look at the front wheels, there are cutouts for the all-wheel drive in the frame of this thing. So clearly the frame is exactly the same as a Trailblazer. Not kind of, it is exactly the same. So you can buy one of these bodies and I guess we could do something with it. So, and it's a big, heavy steel body in this thing. I will give some of the critics back in the day that it's a little underpowered. But this 5.3, it makes it move plenty. I mean, it's not slow, it's not fast, but I'm in a freaky car truck thing. Excuse me. I'm in a freaky car truck thing. Does it look like I want to go fast? I mean, I do want to go fast, and obviously GM figured out, I guess we kind of want to go a little faster, so in 05 they actually put the 6.2 or 6 liter LS2 in it, same as the GTO, and I think it had that same tune. And it was a nice truck. I mean, it was a good performing truck. This thing's a good performing truck with 170,000 miles on it. And my happy light is on in this too. I have a bad cat, so that's got to get fixed soon because I got to get it smogged. Good old California. But as for this one, it's a 5.3, all aluminum 5.3, so it's a little bit unique to this truck as it is. Mounted to a 4L60E transmission, the good old grenade. I do not know if this grenade has exploded yet. I think it has. This truck was purchased up in Fairfield. My dad actually bought this probably about 10 years ago now. I found it up there. I was driving to Sacramento for something, and I seen this thing up on the hill in Fairfield and was like, hey, I think I found an SSR. It's pretty cheap. Let's go look at it. So he flew up, and we actually bought it that weekend. I was at school still up in Sonoma State, so he came up, bought it, and took it home. And it was right around the time we had gotten the XLR, so I do have 2 of the 3 hardtop convertible vehicles in the Hoopty fleet. And this thing is hooptied a little bit. It was hit, I think, on this side in its previous life, so you're going to see a little bit of clear coat fading and some other just sun damage just because I'm in Southern California. And I'm not joking. I really think the ozone is like jacked up above SoCal because the paint here just goes so fast. I mean, once it hits that point, it just goes. And you're just like, whoa, what happened? And why so fast? So I got this thing cleaned up and show ready today. At least what I would call show ready. It's not exactly the prettiest thing in the world, but it's not the ugliest. I mean, there's definitely worse cars out there. And as I said, everything in this fleet, it's definitely kind of a hoopty fleet. Everything's got their little quirks. But this one likes to get a little warm on you. I don't know why, but someday I'll get it sorted out, and we're gonna get the this thing's gonna get life as a 6.2 liter. It's gonna get the Escalade motor after I get that put in and yanked out and blah 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 blah. We'll do an episode on that also. But let's stay focused. SSR styling inside. They were clearly that when they had this thing designed, they sent a couple of the Corvette boys over and were like, all right, you guys know what you're doing, supervise this. So there's a lot of Corvette-esque design elements, especially from C5, C6. The button layout and the button feeling in this car is very C6 feeling. It's got the fountain just like a C5, my C5 does. I hate the doors. They don't open enough. I'm with Doug DeMuro on that. He actually did a review on one of these, so I checked that out. But all in all, this thing's nice. I mean, I love the gauge cluster. I have to drive with the wheel up a little bit because the wheel is a little bit oversized in this. The wheel, I think, is the exact same size as the original wheel from the Sheep. You know, that 1990s Mercedes wheel that's a little bit oversized. I'll put a picture of it right here. But it feels very reminiscent of that diameter and that thickness, like the early 80s or early to mid 90s Mercedes wheel. Just feels very reminiscent of that. The shifter, don't drive this thing in and leave it in the sun because this SOB gets hot. It's aluminum, so it warms up, and this whole console actually gets pretty warm. I wish my car had the gauge package. Someday maybe I'll find it and buy it and get that installed. The plug's here. They all had the option. Just I didn't have it, so yeah, that happens. I don't have the cup holders that go on the side of the console. I don't have those. My cup holders in the dash are busted, both of them. It does have the freaky little cockpit thing here in the middle, next to the parking brake that I never use. It's funny, people ask me why I don't use my parking brake. It's like, I have a grenade. It'll hold it until it doesn't. But anyways, other goofy things, the starter on this car is miserable to change. I mean, beeping miserable. Like, oh my God. I think it took me 4.5 hours when I did it, and it was a nightmare. So the engineers engineered, I feel like this is a perfect place of the old Boeing factory talking about engineers. These engineers engineered a hole in the A-arm that the starter comes out of. And, I mean, it only comes out one way. And by one way, I mean, you're going to sit there and you're going to screw with it for 2 hours trying to get this thing out. And it is not fun. It is not easy. It's terrible. And I've had to do it once. I don't ever want to do it again. When I put the 6.2 in it, I'm putting a new starter on it just for that reason. I'm never taking it out again that way. It's just that bad. The battery location in this thing is insane. So if you are looking to change your battery, it's in the back underneath in the strangest tray I've ever seen in my life. So you take like I think it's 10 millimeters, actually 4 of them, and you push up, slide, and then it slides down at your head. So you're pushing the entire length or weight of the battery up as you're doing this. And yeah, just expect to be clocked by a battery if you aren't waiting or ready for it, because however heavy your big battery is, I put a big battery in this thing, so I filled that whole box. I think it's got a 750 cranking out battery in it. It's got some weight. So yeah, if you ever have one of these, that's one thing you got to worry about. Another goofy thing, car has no sensors really whatsoever on anything. It tells you temperature, it tells you oil pressure, it tells you fuel. My oil pressure gauge is jacked up, so that's always fun. It always reads 80. So I'm always just like cruising. I'm just like, yay. And this thing, when the oil pressure did work, it would tell you all kinds of strange bad things. So I know this 5.3 is going to let go at some point. I make sure I check the oil in it when I do drive it. So I try not to be a complete a-hole. But, you know, when you have a lot of cars, it's the one nice thing is you don't really have to worry as much about some of these things. Like, oh, I only put 100 miles on these cars maybe a week, if I'm lucky. I mean, the Mercedes I drove that twice last week. I drove the Beamer twice last week. I drove the Camaro once. I drove the Caprice one day. My dad actually drove the Caprice one day. I was proud of him. The air conditioning just works great in that thing. I love that I have newer cars, older cars, and somehow the 1991 Caprice Classic LTZ SS Tribute is the car that has the best air conditioning. This thing's a close second. This thing has the #1 seats to burn your ass in heated seat land. I like heated seats and all, but this thing is excessive. I don't have to turn the heated seats down in a lot of cars, but I only run them on low in this thing because they're hot. They'll light your ass on fire, for lack of a better term. And I'm not talking the Hoovy Taco Tuesday. I'm talking these things they're hot. I'm pretty sure GM got sued for them, but I'm not 100% sure of that. But yeah, as for this car, it's a goofy beast. Like I said, they were made in Lansing. I'll go over a couple numbers here with you. They were actually made in Lansing, and wild story on that. So I guess not legend goes, but pretty much they had everybody hired in 2003. They built the trucks till 2006, canceled the program. 2 weeks later, they demolished the building. And I don't know if it was that fast, but pretty much that's what happened. As for some of the numbers, like I said, they said this motor would give this thing a 7.70 to 60 with a 15.9 quarter mile run at just under 87 miles an hour. As I said, in 2005 it got the Trailblazer GTO motor and transmission, so you could get it with a stick in it too. I'd love to find one of those, but again, maybe we'll do the HHR thing in a stick. That would be fun, right? As I said, let's keep watching. Let's just keep building these things. I mean, I love love kind of working on these mid-gear cars because they really are kind of a unique thing to work with. I used to only like 90 up to 96. I've started and kind of opened my ways all the way up till like 06. I've kind of actually, I'm going to joke, I go to all the way to 13 because after 2013, my Tech 2 scanner will no longer read those cars. So I guess 2013 is the newest car I can technically own. And I think I'm okay with that. What is that, a C6 Corvette or C7? Is it a C7 yet? No, I don't think that's yet a C7. I don't even know. I stopped caring after like 2006 because who cares? The computers in these cars just kind of riddle these cars as nightmares, in my opinion. You can say all you want, and yes, they do make a lot of power. I am not disagreeing. I am not bashing you at all. The cars make a lot of power for relatively a little money. I don't know when 10 grand became cheap, but if you're playing in the ballpark of these LS motors, it's 10 grand. If you're going any high horsepower, it's 10 grand. And then guess what? You just spent 10 grand in your motor. Well, the grenade that it's mounted to behind it, it's going to blow up because that's the intent of the 4L60. They're garbage. They're just absolute trash. So you're going to spend another 2 grand upgrading that, or maybe 4 putting a 4L80 in, so now you're going to have a different controller and everything. Like I said, I'm not bashing it, but you're just getting into this land and these kind of quantum loops that are just disgusting and annoying. Not even to mention, even going from my 5.3 to my 6.2, we're going to have to change the reluctor wheel in the back because the computers don't talk the same language as this thing's going around and reading the crank position. It's just, I understand the amount of power, but I work with computers all day. I at the end of the day, this is my hobby. This is what I love. I love these cars. I love keeping them on the road, but at a certain point, I don't want to be looking at a computer screen trying to diagnose what's going on with my car. It's just now I'm working, and I'm ranting a little on this, but this is one of those cars that kind of has thrown me for the loop. I'm just gonna start. We're gonna do this episode a little bit different today, I guess. So we're gonna kind of jump in. Oh, sorry. We're gonna do this in a midway. So I'm gonna put this top up halfway. So you have to press the brake, which is a little stupid, and it tells you to press brake. So I'm gonna leave that up just like that. And let's get out here, and I'm gonna show you this terrible door opening. It's just ridiculously small. Alright guys, here we are on the outside of the SSR. I just want to show you the back here. A lot of people show you this piece with it up, but here's the top in kind of its first stage when it goes up. All of the electronics for this is back here. So my little rant is because this truck was the first one to kind of put us through the ringer on computers kind of going bad and things needing resoldering and just the weird stuff that you run into. And as I said, it's fun, it's powerful, I get it, but my big block 396 that these guys developed here at Boeing, not these guys, but this generation of guys, they were able to make the same amount of power with a carburetor. So alright guys, we're here. I had a microphone casualty. Kind of a bummer. It was fun while it lasted. Sorry, little fuzzy guy. Broke that right off. Kind of a bummer. But anyways, let's show you guys the top here. I have it up, so let's go ahead and put it down. So designed by ASC, so if you hold the top, you have to put, like I said, you have to push the brake down. You push this, and that back comes up, as you see, and it folds down. It doesn't take a lot of time. It just kind of does its thing. There it goes. Put it back up really quick. There it is. And it's up. And on this one, you hold the button actually, and then the windows go up. So my XLR, you double click it and they go up. So that's kind of a different thing. Here I can show you guys a little outside video or picture of it. Here we are on the outside of my SSR. It actually looks pretty clean in this angle. It does have some paint stuff, like I said. You can notice it on the fenders there a little bit. Like I said, it was painted, I think, because this side has a painted door handle. Not supposed to have that. And as I said, you can see that it's just not as shiny on those fenders. So this car, I like to say, she's a right-sider. She looks real nice from the right side. So we do take pictures of her on the right side. Here we are at that Boeing building. As I was talking about earlier, this place is just cool. You can just tell how reminiscent of the 60s and that kind of architecture that they had. But here it is, the 04 SSR. Just a wild, wild beast. As I said, made in Lansing. They didn't make a lot of them. Let me tell you the exact number. I think they only made like 24,000 of them. In total, they only made 24,150, and of those 24,150, 24,112 were available for sale into the public. So pretty rare truck, and very, very strangely styled again, reminiscent of the 50s Chevy, 40s and 50s Chevy trucks. They like to say it was kind of off of a 54 Apache is what they used. I'll put a picture of one up in the corner here. But just kind of a unique design. One thing I don't understand, I mean I do understand why. They made this hood so heavy. Like, it is ridiculous how heavy the hood is on this truck. It's completely metal. And this little Chevrolet badge is plastic. So almost every single one, I think, has probably been ripped off at some point. I'm going to set the phone down right on top of my motor here. It's a little dirty under here. Like I said, she's a driver. 170,000. She's got some seepage on the valve covers. Not perfect, but look at this hood. It is all metal. Got the SSR logo up there. But just bizarre. And I don't understand why they put the battery where they did, because it would fit right there. Why wouldn't they just put it there and have something like GME where you have to take the top off or something? Or put it back there and move that, put a real thing there. I don't know. Just engineering. But big old Chevy badge. They really did kind of, this was one of the first trucks I think that they started paying attention to little goofy stuff. They put bow ties in everything. Bow tie. I think there's a little bow tie back here even. Like, bow tie. Like, there's bow ties just sprinkled all throughout this thing. The metal, not very strong either. This was done by a trash can. That was courtesy of my sister. Hey, what can you do? It happens. But just a wild kind of thing. There's those cobalt tail lights I was telling you about. Just kind of, it was the truck that wasn't supposed to happen. Let me pop the back here for you and show you. I mean, it's nice. They did a good job finishing it. So this one had the back package, the rear package. I have the saddlebags, they're not in it right now. And I have the center thing too that goes. I keep this Chevy Racing thing in it just because it's nice and it slides on those. But there it is. And it does have this thing up here. I don't know what it's for. Enlighten me if you know. Like I said, it does have a light. I just don't know where it plugs in. So that's kind of cool. It does have the let me out, I'm locked in. They did give you the extra thing back here. One goofy thing about these trucks, you do have to close the top first and the tailgate second. It's kind of a bizarre thing. Mine has the wind deflector on it. And again, like I was saying, does not have a very... I mean, the passenger door is a little bit better than the driver door, but not a lot of foot room to get into the vehicle, you know? There's the bizarre little cup holders that pop in and out. Like I said, mine's a little bit busted. It has the embroidered seat or floor mats. Not bad seats, but not the best seats. Every single one of them have seen they all have this happening. I don't know why it does that, but they do. What else? Bizarre tire size. It has 19s on it. Don't know why. It's the same size as a Porsche Panamera. So, the SSR and a Panamera share tires. I just don't understand why they put the truck manifold. I mean, I guess they put it on for torque, and it was technically a Trailblazer at the time, but the more I look at this car, I just question how it happened, and yeah. Hey guys, Daily Driving Hoopties, Darren here. Hey, I just wanted to say thank you for watching the episode today. I really appreciate you guys hanging out, taking the time to watch these things. I do hope we kind of start blowing this thing up a little bit more. I really am enjoying doing these episodes and doing these videos. And pulling my crap out is definitely kind of fun also. So definitely want to say thank you for watching these. Appreciate it. And hit that like, subscribe, and if you guys do want to talk or reach out, feel free to DM me, email me, whatever. Like I said, this thing is just kind of for the world and for me to have fun. I love these cars that I get to drive, and I'm lucky enough to have found some of them for really good prices and really good deals. So my goal is to just keep preserving the passion and kind of everything that these cars represent from the automotive industry, from automotive design, history, just everything about these things. Like I said, I really am trying to hit really cool places when we're doing these videos. As I said, we're today now, we're back at the Nixon Library. There's Army Corps 1. And here we are back with the SSR in front of my house. It's nighttime. You can see the moon there. I just wanted to finish the episode off by saying thank you guys for watching. Hit the like, subscribe button. And this is actually going to be the end of the SSR episode, but I'm going to lead directly into a very special episode, our episode 10. It's going to be about the Donald Douglas at the time, I guess, the Donald Douglas DC-3. So, our next episode is going to be a plane episode. So, thanks for watching, guys. I hope to see you in the next one. All right, bye.